Wish you were here. Weather could be better, and the skyline's not quite what one imagines for the Costa del Sol. But Spanish bacon and eggs are good, and we're having a great time. Oh yes, and we rented a car at the airport. Wanting the unexpected to happen is the stuff of holidays, but this isn't quite what holidaymakers have in mind. Here in southern Spain, the landscape's becoming peppered with forlorn monuments to holiday spirits that got out of hand, a sense of adventure that went too far, carefree feelings brought horribly down to earth. The Costa del Sol has the worst road accident figures in Spain. Last year, there were 1,000 accidents on one road alone, and more than 60 people died. On some stretches, there were 30 crashes per kilometre. This is the road, National Highway 340, otherwise known as the Highway of Death. It may look innocuous enough, but try slowing down to do a left turn across 2 lanes of oncoming traffic. It isn't for nothing that locals call it Europe's 4-lane mortuary. The road was modernized in the 1960s, but by the time the bulldozers left, it was already out of date. Mushrooming holiday developments unleashed a flood of traffic, which it was ill-equipped to cope with. Then there are the drivers, jet-set playboys, alongside tourists flagging at the end of a long haul to the coast. Macho lorry drivers rubbing shoulders with British holidaymakers who have no idea of the road's twists and turns, still less about driving on the right-hand side. The highway runs for 100 kilometers through the Costa del Sol's major resorts. The hilly approach to Torremolinos claimed 21 lives last year. Emergency roadworks are underway to build 2 extra lanes near the black spot of Marbella. A Spanish government pamphlet states unnervingly that travellers using the road to find a safe spot in the sun are quite likely to meet their death. These mangled remains are certainly a deterrent to stopping to admire the view. Some wrecked cars are left by the roadside for weeks because there's such a backlog of vehicles to take to the scrapyard. Fatal victims also sometimes lie there for hours. Under Spanish law, a judge has to pronounce them dead. At weekends, it's not always easy to find one. 360 Britons alone have died on the road in the past 6 years, but the Spaniards too have had their fair share of casualties. This counts as a lucky escape on the highway of death. Shaken but unhurt. The police are usually quickly on the scene. There are patrols every 20 kilometers along the road, but nobody bothers very much about giving speeding fines to tourists. The chances are they'll have left the country before they have to pay them. The ambulance service is stretched to its limit. Some paramedics are ex-lorry drivers who've never learnt basic skills like how to lift an injured person. When Francisco Moreno goes to the scene of an accident, he has to drive as well as attend to the patients. In the high season, he's called out up to 18 times a day. The developers who built the holiday complexes put in tennis courts and jacuzzis, but no one gave much thought to providing proper access roads. The highway is even considered too narrow for a central crash barrier to be erected. For hapless pedestrians, beating a path from your villa across to the beach means taking your life in your hands. There isn't a footbridge or underpass in sight. Alcohol only makes matters worse. The hazards are bad enough on the road with more than 300 left-hand bends. Drink just compounds the risk. Alcohol is found in the blood of the majority of foreign casualties. One young Englishman met an untimely end after a nighttime drinking bout when he started bullfighting cars in the fast lane. Darkness makes the facilities for getting across the highway even more tenuous. For many elderly people who've made their retirement homes here, it can be a nightmare. Some sections of the road are being improved, but although the Spanish government categorizes it as very dangerous, any more comprehensive schemes to widen it will have to wait until, well, mañana. Meanwhile, some tourist cars make the long trip home on board a transporter. Plenty of room here on the motorway to the French border. The owners of the cars, chastened but a little wiser, will make their way home by train or plane. The ones, that is, who weren't left behind on the killer highway.